Okay. So while we let people go ahead and jump on the call, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Shisa Kahonaile. I am from the ANA Pacific Region TTA Center. We are located out in the Pacific. We're very excited to be able to host this national webinar. This invitation went out to all of our connections, you know, in the Eastern, Western, Pacific, and Alaska region. We are excited because we know a lot of working families are going back to work in person for some of us. Others, you know, we're still working from home. And this is an opportunity for you to hear about the amazing resources that the offices, the ACF offices, there's many offices, but we are featuring 2 offices that are doing great work that will be able to help parents like myself and many others out there to find resources to help ease this transition back into, okay, my kids have to go to school, I have to go back to work, what are my options? Not only options as far as how to pay for it, but also options when it comes to finding wonderful childcare out there, which as parents, I know that we're always trying to look for the best for our kids. So hopefully this webinar will be able to help some of you find those resources that are available to you locally. So I know that we have a special guest that's supposed to be joining us in a little bit. We're going to give everyone a chance to hop on. I see some familiar names in the attendee area, and I'm really excited. Okay, maybe just a couple more minutes.
Lisa.
Hi. Oh, perfect. I'm very honored to introduce, we have our acting commissioner and deputy commissioner of the Administration for Native Americans giving our opening remarks. Hope McDonald Lone Tree, we are so excited to have you here. And I know you're, you know, thank you for giving your time to offer opening remarks for this webinar.
Thank you, Shisa. She'e Hope McDonald Lone Tree Yinchia, Chodachini Nishle, Hashkahazo, Bashachin, Nathana Ada Shache, Arobatana Ada Chanela. I am so happy to be here with you today. It's another exciting time of the year where we are all preparing to get ready for the new and upcoming school year. As a mother of 4, I know how challenging that can be, but I also know, as Shisa mentioned earlier, that we are still kind of, you know, in new territory, meaning that coming out of COVID, we still have new ways of doing business, whether it's teleworking, or if we are back in the office and we're still having hybrid meetings. And, you know, depending on the circumstances of how our children are attending school, there's still a lot to navigate. And so here at ANA, we want to be able to provide as many of the resources that we are able to acquire and create, that we are sharing this with you. And with our sister programs at ACF, we want to make sure we are coordinating with them and helping to get their resources and their information out to you as well. So I'm excited that we're able to do this today. And I just also want to mention that because our webinars are recorded, many of them are available for you to view. We are also, as you may or may not know, host webinars throughout the year. And so if there's a special topic that you would like us to cover, please let us know, because this is something that is important. We're not just, pumping out the information from ACF, but we want to know what are some areas that you would like to know or learn more about. One of the most recent, or two of the recent webinars that we had, one was a presentation by an FBI agent who talked to us and taught us about the dangers online that our children are facing, our families, and gave us a lot of resources, but also tips on how to keep our families and our children safe as we are working and learning online. The second one that we had just recently was on financial literacy, and that presentation was by a nonprofit organization called Junior Achievement, who really talked about how the programs that they have in each state and how they work with communities and some Native communities in their states, and teaching our children financial literacy and ways that they can learn on how to become more aware of the ways that they can, whether it's opening a bank account to learning how to develop a budget. Yes, imagine that. I know that they start from 4th to 5th, 6th grade. So I encourage you to please reach out to us. Again, as a mother of 4, I'm glad that you are joining us today. Please let us know if there's anything else that we can do. And I thank our sister programs who are also participating. And thank you, Shisa. We really appreciate all the help and support that the Pacific is giving us. So with that, I just want to say welcome. Thank you, and we look forward to a great webinar.
Thank you so much, Hope, for your time. Acting Commissioner Hope, we are very excited to go ahead and present all of these wonderful things that we have going on in ACF. So with that, I did want to start with our first presenter. We have Pete Weldy, who is joining us. He is the Regional Administrator for Region 9. He also works for ACF. He has extensive experience working to advance the welfare, the health, and the happiness of children and families across the country. And it's another reason why we're excited to feature a lot of these offices, because we know our children are the future, and we're so excited to be able to offer, show some of the resources that are available for our children and families. And next, we do later in this presentation, we'll be having Julie Fong to have a short presentation. She is a regional program manager for Region 9 under Tanf, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, and that's also with ACF. She is a human services professional with over 28 years of experience in social service, program and public policy, government relations, and social justice field. So there's a lot of passion and expert knowledge on this panel today, and we're really excited to be able to showcase this for all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to Pete to go ahead and get this presentation started.
Thank you, Shisa, and thank you to Acting Commissioner Hope for those opening remarks. We appreciate you being here too. And thanks for the invite. I'm really excited to share some information with all of you about some of ACF's programs. But before I maybe get into that, I think it might be helpful. I'm a fairly new federal employee, and the alphabet soup of all the federal agencies can get a little confusing. It still confuses me. But just so you know, the Administration for Children and Families is housed under the broader umbrella of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I like to say, although it might be an overgeneralization, that ACF, or the Administration for Children and Families, is the human services side of the Health and Human Services Department. So when you think of a human services program like childcare, Head Start, Tanf, refugee resettlement, human trafficking related things, child welfare, all of those are ACF programs. And the US Department of Health and Human Services divides the country into 10 regions. And we are in Region 9. I'm in San Francisco, where our office is at and where I live and work. We're all here in the federal building where our kind of regional headquarters is. And we represent the states of California, Arizona, Nevada, Hawaii, American Samoa, Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, the Republic of Palau, Republic of the Marshall Islands, and Federated States of Micronesia. So it's a big region, diverse region, beautiful region. And I'm excited for those of you in the Pacific that I'll be making a trip out for my first ever time later this year. So I'm really excited about that. But I know that today we're just going to focus on a few important things related to going back to school and back to work as the pandemic starts to ease. The pandemic's certainly not over yet. I know that we all still experience it in our day-to-day lives. And it may never fully be over, but things are starting to feel a little more normal. So as folks are going back to school or back to work, there becomes a question, where are my young children going? And my background is really in early childhood. I'm a passionate proponent of high quality early childhood care and education. And ACF has multiple programs that support early learning. As you all know, I'm probably preaching to the choir, but those first 5 years are the most important of a child's life, of a human's life, where the brain is developing at a quicker pace than it ever will during those first 5 years. So it's important that we think about it in two ways, I think. One, how can we support parents who need someplace, a high quality setting to have their child to make sure that they're safe and learning? That's one need. And the other need is for the child themselves to make sure that they're in a high quality setting that's safe and that they're learning. So ACF, as you'll see now in front of you on this slide, we have a few financial assistance programs at ACF. Most of our relationships with states and tribes and territories are a little more distant. Usually there are middle people in the process. A local jurisdiction is receiving funding from the federal government, and then they pass that funding on to an individual in a variety of ways, either a Head Start program or a childcare program. But those are the two that I'm going to focus on, is talking about childcare and Head Start and early Head Start. So you can go to the next slide, Shisa. So there are the Child Care Development Block Grant has been around for quite a while, but that is really the tool that the federal government has at its disposal to block grant money to states, tribes, and territories so that they can implement their child care programs locally. In terms of the tribal assistance, though, the Tribal Child Care and Development Fund, or CCDF, as you'll often hear, is a federal block grant to states, tribes, and territories to support low-income families. And I know I was just talking about the earliest years of 0 to 5. However, the CCDF program does support kids from 0 to up to age 12, not including 13. It's up to age 13. So parents can work and be enrolled in an eligible activity like working, attending training, or participating in other activities. It was recently reauthorized in 2014. And excitingly, there's been a lot of kind of renewed attention. The pandemic certainly highlighted, I think, some of the disparities and the deep need for high quality childcare and other early learning opportunities. And it's a big mission of the Biden administration to make sure that we're talking about all of that. And among all of the tribal nations, 265 receive funding and serve over 550 federally recognized tribes. In Region 9, we have 159 federally recognized tribes, the second largest of all the regions. You can go to the next slide, Shisa. So that's all fine and dandy, but it seems very disconnected probably from the reality of consumers or parents who are on the ground wondering where they can find this. As a requirement of CCDBG or CCDF, all are required to work with resource and referral agencies. So you'll hear this, resource and referral, or an R&R. Sometimes they describe themselves, but these are places where you can go that are local to you, that you can find access to childcare. They know the providers in the area, they know their enrollments, and they can help you walk through the process of receiving a subsidy or voucher if you're eligible. So you can go to the next slide. This is a good example. This is on childcare.gov. So I encourage you to reach out, just go on the web and check it out. And you can find resources in your particular state or jurisdiction. Next slide. So this is a great example. Since Indigenous people in Hawaii and the Pacific Islands are not recognized as a formal tribal nation, there are other resources, though, out there for you. Specifically in Hawaii, Patch is the local resource and referral agency. So some of you may know them. They might not even describe themselves as an R&R resource and referral, but they're there, and they're there to help you find access to childcare. One of the challenges, of course, of the childcare industry now is low workforce. They have trouble finding folks to work in their centers. This is a challenge that we're trying to address. The federal government pay in those jobs are frequently way too low, and which is really driving some of those issues. So we are identifying best practices and sharing those with our state partners to make sure that they're helping support the early childhood workforce as well. Next slide. So next, that's on the childcare side. The other early childhood initiative that ACF has is Head Start and Early Head Start. And the differentiation between those two programs is really just on the child's age. Head Start's been around, of course, since the 1960s, and is really, I like to think of it as the gold standard for high quality early learning programs. It's for those who are to very low income. For those of you who follow the federal poverty rates, it's 130% of the federal poverty level, up to 130%. But you're talking about very low income families who need support, and we enroll those families in Head Start programs. There are numerous ones in the Pacific and also in Alaska and all over the country. And we serve them nearly 1 million children, pregnant women in centers, family homes, and family childcare homes, all in different types of settings. Family engagement is a big component of Head Start, and it's really focused on the whole family in addition to the child. Next slide. So similar to finding your local resource and referral agency to receive a childcare subsidy or voucher, you can also go and find a local Head Start provider. So also, I know that Shisa said that these links and resources will be sent out in a follow-up email after this, which is great, but you can go here also to Head Start's website and find your closest Head Start provider. So one big announcement that I did want to share was something exciting. It takes a long time to change rules, and this has been a long time in the making. But families, to be eligible for Head Start, you must be receiving some sort of public assistance. The family must. Traditionally, that has meant receiving Tanf, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, which Julie will talk about in a second, or SSI, Supplemental Social Security Income. But we just recently expanded. You can go to the next slide, Shisa. We actually recently just expanded what public assistance means, which is very exciting. So now public assistance includes SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and also includes the Food Distribution Program on Indian reservations and Nutrition Assistance Program, which applies to many of the territories. So if you're receiving that public assistance benefit, it now counts towards your eligibility for Head Start. So we're really trying to get out the word on this, which is very exciting. I was down in Los Angeles maybe 2 or 3 months ago with our new assistant secretary at the Los Angeles County Office of Education, doing a whole rollout event for this. And there were families there signing up for Head Start because they were now newly eligible. So we're trying to make it easier for your kids to enroll in Head Start. And we're really trying to get that message out. You can go to the next slide. So this is a little more about the food distribution program on Indian reservations. When you hear SNAP eligible for Head Start, just to note that it includes this program, which you may be familiar with. You can go to the next slide. And also the nutrition assistance program in Puerto Rico, American Samoa, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands applies. It's not a traditional SNAP program, but it is a nutrition assistance program. And as a reminder, the Department of Health and Human Services doesn't actually run the SNAP program. That's actually with our partners at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which I'm sure that many of you are aware of. So different department that we work closely with. And next slide. So the impact of this new rule that went into effect, like I said, a few months ago, is making determination of your eligibility for Head Start a lot easier. And about 500,000 families, about 500,000 families we anticipate will now be eligible for Head Start because of this change, which is really, really exciting. So there's a lot more information to share. I did want to mention that my friend and colleague, Tina Warren, is also on the call. She's our regional program manager for the Office of Childcare. She's a fantastic resource. So if you have any questions, I might be able to answer them, but Tina is really the subject matter expert and can also answer any questions that you all have. We're here in the region, and we're regionally based on purpose to be closer connected to all of you. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any needs or questions. I know that our contact information will be shared after the meeting. So thank you. And now I will turn it over to my other friend and colleague who's going to talk a little bit about Tanf and the great programs that she helps run, Julie Fong.
Thanks so much, Pete. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone. My name is Julie Fong. I am the Region 9 Tanf Program Manager for Tanf, Temporary Assistance to Needy Families. And what that means is that my team and I work with the states and territories and tribes that Pete mentioned that our region covers. With the exception of American Samoa and CNMI, they do not currently have Tanf programs. I'm going to give you an overview of the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families program, tell you what the program covers and offers, and answer any questions you have. So as Pete described, we are a division under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. We're on the Human Services side under the Administration for Children and Families. We have 10 regional offices. Next slide, please. What is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families? Temporary Assistance for Needy Families is a block grant that is available to states and federally recognized tribes. Under 1996 legislation, welfare changed, and that change also authorized federally recognized tribes to operate their own federally funded welfare programs, which was a fantastic change. Tanf provides assistance and work opportunities to needy families by granting states and tribes the federal funds and flexibilities to develop and implement programs that achieve the 4 purposes that are outlined here, but that are also responsive to the unique community and the unique needs of that community. So the 4 primary or kind of pillars that Tanf programs are built around are to provide assistance to needy families so that children can be cared for in their own homes or in the homes of relatives. To end the dependence of needy parents on government benefits by promoting and fostering job preparation, work, and marriage. To prevent and reduce the incidence of out-of-wedlock pregnancies and establish annual numerical goals for preventing and reducing the incidence of these pregnancies. And what that means is it's not just literally preventing and reducing the incidence of out-of-wedlock pregnancies, but also this is around some of the flexibilities of the program. Prevention in general, so prevention of high-risk activities or high-risk participation in high-risk activities. So this often means for tribal programs that they use funds to do prevention activities, culturally relevant activities that engage youth and prevent them from participating in high-risk activities. And the 4th pillar is to encourage the formation and maintenance of 2-parent families. Next slide, please. So what services or benefits are available to families under Tanf? These are some of the services and benefits that are available under the program. So monthly basic cash assistance payments, and those vary by state or tribe. Again, Tanf is a block grant, and so for states, we issue that block grant, and then for tribes, the tribes block grant gets chipped off of the state's block grant. So it's based on the amount of the block grant is based on caseloads from 1994 and population counts. Other services that are provided under Tanf include counseling, heating and cooling assistance, job skills training and professional training, career pathways, education and training programs, support services such as childcare, transportation, clothing, employment services for non-custodial parents that enhance that parent's ability to support their children, teen pregnancy prevention programs, and again, that includes culturally relevant activities, non-medical substance abuse treatment, parenting and life skills training, and substance abuse. Again, I think I said that, non-medical substance abuse treatment. Also domestic violence resources, supports and counseling, things of that nature. Next slide, thank you. So how Tanf gets to families. This is a map of, which shows all of our regional offices. I work out of the Region 9 San Francisco office with Pete. And again, that covers Arizona, California, Hawaii, Nevada, American Samoa, Micronesia, Guam, Marshall Islands, the Republic of Palau, and the Northern Mariana Islands. We currently have 24 tribal Tanf partners, and that includes coalition partners. So the number of tribal governments that we partner with is actually far greater than 24. I think it's closer to 75 tribal partners. But as you can see, there are tribal programs in nearly all of our regions, with the exception of Region 3, Region 2, and Region 1, which cover most of the East Coast. We have tribal partners though in Region 4 through Region 10. The majority of our tribal partners are on the West Coast. So that is Region 9 and 10. Region 10 covers Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and they've got currently 23 tribal Tanf partners. So the way the Tanf gets to families, again, this is a block grant that's granted to states, and states utilize the funds to provide all of the services that were outlined and more on the previous slide. Tribal Tanf programs get their funding from, thanks, she said we can go forward. Tribal Tanf programs get their funding from the state funds. So they identify a particular population that they want to serve. Maybe it's on the reservation, maybe it's in a BIA near reservation service area designation. Tribes can serve. Something that's unique about tribal Tanf is tribes can operate a program. It's not limited to the state that they're physically in. They can provide services to their members wherever their members reside. And we have some tribes, for example, Washoe, which is located in both Nevada and California. So that's a unique aspect of tribal Tanf. But tribes get their funding. It's a piece of the state's funding that is allocated to the tribe. We have several states that provide a match to that using state funds, and tribes use that funding to provide the services that were outlined on the previous slide, to include assistance, financial assistance, childcare, transportation, education, culturally relevant activities that support healthy family formation and prevent high-risk behaviors among youth. Next slide, please. So this is where you can find more information about Tanf. The Office of Family Assistance, which is the office under which I work, maintains a web page called Help for Families. And you can find more information about Tanf programs in your area by visiting the web page and there's an interactive map, which can be accessed through the link that I've provided here. You just click on the map and you can find information about Tanf in your area. We also have a list of tribal Tanf programs on our website with contact information. Again, depending upon the area you live in, there are, with the exception of the 3 regions 1 through 3, there are tribal Tanf programs nationwide. And I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you for being here today. And she said, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Julie and Pete. We're going to go ahead and move on to our Q&A with our presenters today. We do have a few questions in the chat, so I did want to go ahead and run through them. First question I have is for, it looks like Tina Warren is going to take the first question. I'll go ahead and read it out and let Tina take over. The question is, does childcare include daycare for my infants? I need to go back to work in person soon. So I'm going to hand it off to Tina for that one.
Yeah, thanks, Shisa. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you sound good.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everybody. And thank you for that question. And the answer is yes, possibly. As Pete described, the CCDF tribal program is granted to over 200 tribes nationwide. And the way that money gets managed is the services that are going to be provided are developed and described in a plan that's written by the tribal administrator, the CCDF tribal administrator. So under CCDF rules, infant care is definitely allowed. Many people use their CCDF subsidies to support parents with infants, but it really depends also on if folks can find an infant care provider, if that person is available to take care of their kids. So it really depends on the area that you're located, but that is definitely the intent of the program, to make that service available.
Thank you so much, Tina. Do you have anything else to add, Pete?
No, Tina described that great. Thank you, Tina.
I do have another question for your section. It's what services are available for pregnant women? Is that Head Start?
There are, I can take a stab at that, and maybe you too, Tina. There are, yes, for Head Start's programs, especially the early Head Start programs, can provide support to pregnant women. There's also the Women, Infants, and Children food program, that WIC, as you might hear it, that also provides food to women who are pregnant. There are also other programs that I'm probably not thinking of off the top of my head, but Head Start is a good place to start.
And Tanf. Tanf is available to pregnant women. So various programs, again, because it's a block grant and we want to provide the broadest flexibilities to states and tribes to be responsive to the needs of their communities. The guidelines around it vary, but for the most part, I believe most programs serve women in their second and third trimester of pregnancy. And so TANF is a program that is available to families, so it's not available to single individuals. However, if you're pregnant, you are considered a family. So please do look into your local TANF program.
Okay, perfect. Tina, did you have anything to add to that?
The other thing I might add is there's a home visiting program, tribal home visiting program, and actually several tribes just were awarded new home visiting grants, but that's a really, it is not as widespread, I don't think, as TANF and CCDF are, but it's a wonderful program because a new mom would have someone come and meet with her or new parents and kind of discuss what it means to be a new parent, how things are going, some tips and tools for taking on the new job of being a parent.
Wow, that's awesome. I have a question for Julie. I see the TANF option on my kids' school application. Is that the same as this, is what you're presenting?
Yes, it would be. It would be.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
There's only one TANF.
And then is TANF and SNAP the same?
No, they are not. And I think Pete mentioned this earlier. So all the acronyms, everything, it gets very confusing, I know, and I apologize for all of the use of the acronyms. So many states and tribes are, if they haven't already implemented what they call a no wrong door approach to providing services, or a one-stop shop, you might hear it called a one-stop shop. When you go to apply for publicly funded benefits, you'll submit one application usually, and they'll look at it through multiple lenses to determine if you're eligible for multiple programs. Usually many of those programs are housed under the same roof out of either a state human services office or under a tribal human services office. So SNAP is funded and overseen by the Food and Nutrition Service, which is under the USDA. And that program provides food services. So they may provide an EBT card or funding to purchase food. It's often known as food stamps. They also provide, in some states, what's called SNAP Employment and Training Services. And so that is a program that also provides opportunities for work training, skill development, things of that nature. That's similar to TANF, but usually they are, if you've been through TANF and you have gotten employed, and so you're no longer eligible because your income is too big. Sometimes people will go, they're still receiving SNAP because their income eligibility is, their threshold is higher. And so folks can transition to SNAP employment and training as kind of a cascading program, going from TANF to SNAP employment and training. So there are employment and training aspects to both programs, but TANF is a different program.
Thank you very much, Julie. And I think that is the last question that we had. If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to either leave them in the chat, or you guys can go ahead and email I will be sending up a follow-up email with all of these amazing resources, the links to the locators, everything will come into one email. So feel free to reply to that email and I'll make sure your questions get over to the right people. But did you guys have anything else to add to my wonderful panel?
I don't. I just want to thank you, Shisa, for the invitation to come. Thank you, Julie and Tina, also for participating. And I know that Shisa will send out some resources for any follow-up question. You can reach out to us, and if we don't know the answer, we can point you in the right direction. Whether that's a federal resource, a state resource, territory, tribal resource, or hyper local resource, we can find that for you. So just thank you, Shisa, for having us.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to thank, we had Pete, Julie, and Tina today. And of course, the Acting Commissioner, Hope McDonald Bonetree, joined us from the Administration for Native Americans. We're really excited. This presentation has a lot of great resources in it. I just wanted to, we're located on the Pacific region, but there are different offices, training and technical assistance offices under the Administration for Native American. We are here to help you and your Native communities. We are, we have our free training and technical assistance. We also have trainings coming up to help and assist you in grant writing. You can get more information by heading on to, anapacific.org. You can give us a call. But I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us. And as a mother of 3, I have 3 young children. Programs like this really help because where I'm located, there's just, ACF has done a wonderful job with everything that they're doing. There's a Native school that my kids can attend and different programs that they're a part of that not only make me feel secure because I have time to work to work and focus, but also because my kids are receiving such quality education that's rooted in our Native culture. So I just wanted to thank you guys for all the work that you do. For Pete, Julie, and Tina, you guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar. If you have any questions, go ahead and reply back to your follow-up email. But with that being said, I think we're all good to go and we're going to close out. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shisa. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.